Hey everybody, Mr. Riedl here. In this video, I'm going to give you a tour of my desk area and my setup and talk to you all about how well it works for me. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is my dual monitor setup. Now I utilize this every single day, and it all starts at the beginning of the day in the morning with opening routine. So what I do is I open up a document that has all the information for my opening routine, and I full screen it, and then I put on a timer. Timer is right there digitally, and so I have all this information that is what the students see when they walk in the morning, which is over here. So the students see that on the screen when they walk in the door, and this is also on my second monitor. And the best thing about having it on a second screen is that I am able to use this screen to do any other stuff that I need to do while they are working on that. So for example, I can bring up this screen, which is where I can log the attendance. And it's not just helpful for doing attendance in the morning, it's also helpful if I need to check an email or search messages, or if I need to look at my lesson plans on the computer. What I use is planbook.com, and so I often have my lesson plans here, and if I am having this up on the screen, then that way they don't see my lesson plans, they only see this screen. Oftentimes I'm looking through my lesson plans and I have a video link that I want to show them while I'm teaching them. So I just find the link to the video in my lesson plans, and then I click on it and it goes up to this screen, and then the students are able to see it up there. And for those of you who don't know how it works to connect the second screen to it, the function that I use on the computer is the project function that extends the screen. So it is extending it as if the second monitor was the one that was displaying to the projector. So I selected the extend screen, and so what that looks like, it's just like one long screen. So it's like one long screen horizontally. I can bring this window over to this side and then display it on that one. And this is really nice because if something pops up here that I don't want the students to see, then I can just click it and drag it over to the left side, and then the students don't see it on the screen. And another way to not let the students see it is if I just grab the remote for the projector and I click the blank button, then it shows up on the screen that it's blank, and whatever is here is not shown up there. And that's a nice transition to talk about my projector. So this is the projector remote, and I just keep it in that little spot right there. And that controls the projector that's up here, which displays straight onto the whiteboard. I used to have a smart board, but I didn't like that so much because I wanted to always use whiteboard markers on my whiteboard. For example, if I wanted to have this up on the board and I wanted to put a little message here, then I would write my message right there, and they would see that and they would see my message. So I know you can do similar things with the smart board, but this was just much easier for me. So the little note that I have on my remote here shows two different inputs. The first input is computer or Chromecast, and the other input is my Elmo. So my computer or Chromecast, I push this button, and for my Elmo, I push this button, because there are two inputs that are in the back of the projector. One is VGA and one is HDMI. So those two cables, they go through the ceiling and they come down out of the wall right here. So this is the VGA and this is the HDMI. And so the VGA cable goes straight to my Elmo, or in other words, document camera. So that document camera is what I use to put papers right here and then display it up on the screen. And the HDMI cable, that goes straight into my HDMI switch. So I have a switch here that it selects whether or not I want to use my computer or my Chromecast, because my Chromecast is right here. So it switches between the Chromecast, which is right here against the wall. I just connected it to this switch, or my computer, which is this switch. So if I want it to be my computer, I go to that one. If I want it to be Chromecast, I go to that one. Another huge benefit of having a Chromecast is not just when I display my phone onto the screen or my tablet or whatever. That screen mirroring option is awesome, but it's also beneficial when my students, because my students, some of them have Chromebooks, and so if they have a Chromebook and they want to display it onto the screen for everybody, then this will allow them to do that. So here's what the cords look like on my computer. This is a power cable, and that is just always lying right there in case I need to take it home or in case I need to move it. This is the most portable one, and this clip allows it to come out really quickly, like that. So that keeps it out of the way of my legs. This is the HDMI cable that goes to the switch over there. And this is an internet cable that I plug directly into the wall because it's much faster than wireless. This is a little remote that I use that connects to my remote clicker for PowerPoints. My students often use this when they're giving their Person of the Week presentations, so I keep that in all the time. This is a little remote that goes to my wireless mouse. And this is an audio cable that connects to whatever is playing on the computer, music or video, and it goes all along to here to my stereo. And my stereo projects these really loud speakers for the whole room to here, which is really helpful because the speakers on that projector are lame and tiny, and you can only hear it if you're like standing directly under it. These are much better for music and playing good videos, and sound quality is great. I also have a USB charging cable that I use to charge my phone and also transfer videos from my phone to the computer, or sometimes I get a coworker who wants to charge their phone, stuff like that. So that's something that I always keep plugged in there too. And so I have this little binder clip that always keeps this out of the way so that I can open the drawer without it getting in the drawer. So that's helpful. And then it winds over to here, which has another binder clip, and this one just hangs here when I'm not using it. But this audio cable goes over to here. And so I just wrapped it around here to just keep it out of the way. But this audio cable actually goes to another switch. So I can switch between the audio for the computer, which is right here, or sometimes I use a Chromecast audio, and that is always kept right here. So if I ever need to use Chromecast audio, then I just flick this switch, and then I can listen to the Chromecast audio through the stereo. So this switch is really helpful too, because both of those are connected to what goes into the auxiliary in my stereo. I have headphones right here, and I also have a Bluetooth speaker. I think that's pretty much it for all of the electronics in my workstation. Oh, I do have the phone. I found that keeping a phone on my desk was really poor use of space, so I knew that my phone was able to hang on the wall, so that's what I did. I just put in a screw or two and add on the wall. That was really helpful, saved me a lot of space. Well, I think that's pretty much it for all of my technology. I'm pretty tech savvy, and this is really helpful for me. I don't recommend every teacher do this because sometimes it can be confusing to switch between screens and stuff. But for me, it works awesome, and I love it, and it saves me so much time. All right, as for the rest of my desk workstation setup area, this is my little dad area. I have pictures of my family. This I love. I have 3 little sections here with a binder clip, and I use these binder clips to hang any artwork or drawings that my kids from home give me, and they always say, "Daddy, Daddy, hang this in your classroom," and I'm like, okay, I got a perfect spot. Alright, so as for my desk, yes, it is quite dusty, in case you were wondering. I don't get around to dusting very often, especially since there's so many nooks and crannies around here. But anyway, so this is the document camera. I already mentioned that. Whatever's here goes on the screen. And this is a lamp that I use to provide a little extra light if a document needs a little bit of extra light. This light here is kind of worthless. This comes with the document camera, so I never use that. I just push that back here because there's really no point to using it. This one is much brighter. It's much more helpful, so I keep that there. I keep any books that I've been reading aloud in class or I refer to often here. And here's my jar for what I use so often if I am displaying something on the screen for them. I use these like if I'm measuring something for the kid. The big one that I use is my red pen. So I use my red pen with my document camera here. And when I'm correcting with the kids, and this is something that I just installed a few weeks ago, and I have this hanging here because I used to have paper just sitting here wasting space on my desk. And so I thought, okay, where could I put these? Because I usually take pieces of paper, and you know how when you're grading something, you don't want to just show the entire document all at once. You want to like go line by line. So whatever problem that we're currently grading, then I put this right under that one, and then I bring it down a little bit more each problem or each line, and so then I correct one at a time, right? So where am I going to put these white pieces of paper that I always want to use this for? So why not put it here? So I put a little nail here and I hang it there. When I need it, it's a quick access. Boom, boom. So that one, so that I'm especially amped about. That's been helpful. Here are my popsicle sticks or tongue depressors that I use for student names. I got this as a gift last year. My students, as a Pez dispenser. This is such an awesome mug that they got me. 5th grade Pezzers for last year. So these are quick papers that I need access to. This is usually just when I need to present it onto the projector. There's answer keys in here and project guidelines and math packets and stuff like that. Anything that I want to quickly pull out and show them on the document camera. This is a box that I use for the wall. I have extra strikes in here if I need to give them strikes for having a messy classroom. I have extra name tags here if I need them, like if I have a new student that needs a spot on the classroom jobs wall. Pockets and stuff, anything that I need that's helpful. Here's my name tag and my own pencil. This is an awesome coaster here. This is one of my coworkers got me this, and it's all sealed and it's a piece of wood, right? It's a cross section of a branch, and you can see all the different rings and how old this tree was. And it's right here, and then smaller post-its. This is my little post-it station here. This is the offense log for my new classroom management system. My classroom economy has a fine officer, and this is where they log all of the offenses that the students have, which I will explain in a different video. Here's the fine tickets for where it is kept. This is the little folder that I use for students that need to finish their tests. I often forgot if a student needed to finish a test because they were absent or something, so I just keep these on my desk all the time. If they're absent, then I just put them here. Julia needs to finish her punctuation test because she was absent. I love this. This is one of the best things ever. If you guys have seen these old desks, they have these things that pull out, and I usually have conferences here. I have students come sit right here, and then I sit on my yoga ball here. So it's me sitting there and the students sitting here, and this is where I do little teacher conferences. And the students put their stuff right here, and then we can talk. So this is probably one of the most useful things out of this whole desk, is this board that comes out. In my top drawer, what I have is basic supplies that I want just for myself. And I don't let the students into these drawers. That's what this area is for. These are supplies that they can have access to. So these are supplies that I want specific to me because I have reasons for students not touching them. Just extra school supplies in here. Dry erase markers are a big thing. Here's all my colored ones. This is where I get them for when I need more for the board. Extra Sharpies, extra highlighters, extra pencils. This is my label maker, extra whiteout. Oh, this is the best thing ever, actually. This is something that I use to get staples out of the wall. This is extremely helpful. Hole punches, more whiteout, push pins, stickers. This is my drawer. I've tried to clean this out so all of the stuff in here is absolutely useful and not just junk. So this is my little tool area here. Here, extra halogen bulbs. X-Acto knives that I don't want students to have quick access to, so that's way back in the back here. Here's an extra pump for my yoga balls. I have to hide this from my students, otherwise they would want to just keep pumping up their yoga ball because they always want it more inflated than it already is. All the thumbtacks organized nicely. A few extra batteries. This is really handy, having a screwdriver. Stuff for my teeth in case I'm eating in here and I need dental floss. Super helpful. Whistles just in case. Although I don't use these very often because I can just whistle with my fingers. And of course, this is very important, having a bug just in case you need to scare somebody. Alright, so over here, this is my little to-do pile. This is stuff that I've been doing. This is, I've been doing the National Geographic School B with my students. So we already finished that last month and we already have a winner, so that's great. 3-hole punch I use for my binders all the time. So I want to have one that only I use. There's a different one for the students to use. Paper clips I use all the time, every single day. So I have my paper clips there. a little card that I got from church. This is a great reminder to me to give grace not only to myself, but to my students. All right, I already explained about the monitors. This I attached to the wall. This is actually not attached to the desk. So I saw that there are holes to screw this shelf to the wall. So I used to have it on my desk, but now I put it on the wall. These are all my really important pens and highlighters that I use regularly. This is my gradebook. I keep my gradebook here. I use this all the time, so I need to make sure it's quick access. These are extra roster sheets here for my students that I use for my gradebook and also for my volunteers. These are extra neighborhood house volunteer waiver forms. These are extra copy center sheets for when we want to make copies, calculator, stapler, and then a few other slips and forms that I use. I have, this is a different trash can that I need to go through. Usually I need to shred these, so this is different than this trash can because this has more sensitive material in it. This is just an electronics drawer where I keep extra electronics stuff. This drawer is completely empty because I can't open it, so I don't put anything in there. Here's the phone extensions for people at school. This is my classroom schedule. This is an awesome card that I got from a student when I was student teaching. And this is my most prized possession, probably in the history of what gifts I've gotten from my students. This is really meaningful to me, so I keep it up here all the time, and it's colorful. This is a poem that a student wrote for me, and this was probably my worst year ever. It wasn't here, it was at a different school that I taught at, and I thought that was really meaningful. Up here is my Pez jar. Usually this is filled all the way to the top with Pez packs, but I'm running a little low. I'm gonna need to restock, and I give these out as rewards, and when it's a student birthday, then they get a handful of Pez packs. This is a special Pez dispenser, the 50th anniversary Golden Glow Pez dispenser that I like to show students. I show students that this is the way Pez dispensers looked in the beginning. They were originally created for smokers. And it wasn't candy back then, it was mint. And so you'd get a mint, and it looks like a cigarette lighter. And that's what it originally was for. It would look like a cigarette lighter so that you would take a mint out of this after you finished your smoke. But it didn't sell very well to adults, so what they ended up doing is marketed it differently. They marketed it to kids, put, cartoon heads on it instead, and then it was much more popular with kids instead. Alright, so here's all my teacher books that I rarely read, but some of them I've read. Those are old yearbooks. I keep all my yearbooks for all my years, so I can look back. Here's books that I use regularly in class, novels and stuff. Here's the little shelf that I use to keep worksheets and copies that I will use in the future. So if I go to the copy machine and I make copies, then I put them here so they're nicely organized. Here's the microphone that I use that I chopped off the cord for. I use this for my classroom meetings. And I also use these for my classroom meetings. It's called an ooze tube, and I got this idea from one of the teachers that I know on Twitter, and he works at Lewis Elementary, and he gave me this idea. It's great. It keeps the students' attention, and they can look at this during the classroom meetings, and it's mesmerizing. Here are where I put worksheets and papers that I have used that I need to file. So I need to take these and I need to refile them into my binders down here. These are answer keys that I need to refile. Here's a little school supply area that my volunteers use if they need anything. And here's a little joke calendar thing that I just use during lunchtime with my students. Joke of the day. Here's a water bottle that I use sometimes, and my stamps that I use. I did a video on these. Here are the textbooks that I use regularly. If I need to refer to something out of the science book, then I would take it over to the document camera and I put it up on the screen for all the students to see. I keep those over here when they're not being used. Here are binders for stuff that I use. Classroom binder has essential information in it, subfolders, data binders, stuff like that. Here's a little candy stash back here for quick rewards for the students. Here's a little bin that I use for my reading groups, my book clubs. And here are the binders that I keep all my hard copies in. Usually what I do is I keep all of my stuff digital, and for the stuff that I want to keep hard copies of, I keep in these binders. So this is not all the stuff that I cover for each subject throughout the whole year. Most of the stuff is digital, but all the hard copy stuff is here. And then this is other stuff, like if I have other side jobs like Ultimate Frisbee Club, or if I have other things that I need to keep stored, this is where I keep it. This is something that I use for carpool duty at the end of the day. And this is new. I just got this shelf from home, and I put it in here because I felt like I needed a little bit more storage right here, so I could keep my backpack right here. Every day I will put my lunch on the top here, and I can keep auction stuff down here. So these are auction items that we'll be auctioning off in the next. We have paddles for auctions and other goodies in here. So this is the end of the tour. This is my last area here. This is all of the classes that I have taught since I've been teaching here, 5th grade. And I also have all of the IDs since 7th grade. This is my ID badge for 7th grade. So all through the years, I have all of the ID badges since 7th grade. Also, when I went to college. So here's Seattle Pacific University when I went to undergrad, and then I worked at OHSU for a year, and then I went to Concordia for my graduate work to become a teacher. Through the YMCA before and after school care in Portland Public Schools. That was really tough work. I really have high respect for the parents and staff, people who work in before and after school care. It's really tough to get those kids after school. And here is when I was a student teacher through Portland Public Schools. My students love seeing this picture because I have my nasty goatee here, so they love seeing that. But then I shaved off my goatee for my first year of teaching. I was at Walt Morey Middle School in Troutdale, and then the next year I was in Ontario, Oregon, and then the next year I got hired here, West Hills Christian School, and I'm 5th grade, and then I've been teaching 5th grade all since then. And then here is this year's. And then I have artwork here. If a student ever gives me artwork, then I be sure to post it up there because I love seeing students' artwork. Or gifts that they give me. And this is the little grading station. I have an instructional aide that comes in and helps me grade. There's her to-do list, her pile of stuff to do. And here are the folders that I use to keep extra copies of worksheets. So if I have extra math packets or extra science worksheets, then I keep them all here. So the students don't have access to getting extra worksheets. They have to ask me for them nicely. And if they ask for them nicely, then I can give them extra worksheets if they need them. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. So this is the book return place. If a student checks out a book from my classroom library and they want to return it, then they return it here, and then I enter it into my computer. I did another video explaining how that works, so you can watch that. And this basket I use for any daily worksheets or books that I need to keep in a specific location. I just keep them here so that I can have easy access if I'm going to be teaching, or if I'm going to be using it for the document camera, or if I'm going to be passing out papers to the students. Also over here to the side of my bookshelf, I have all these GIMP keychain design string keychain things that I made when I worked in after school care at the YMCA, and I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with these yet. Also in the back here I keep extra meter sticks, and I also keep my tripod back here. It's a really helpful place to keep my tripod so that it's out of the way, and you don't even notice it from this angle. Wow, that took longer than I thought it would. I hope you appreciated all those very specific details that if you got this far into the video, that only you would appreciate. So if that was helpful to you, then thanks for watching, and that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions about any tiny little details that I went over, if I didn't cover enough, then go ahead and leave any questions you have in the description below, and I'd be happy to get back to you. But hopefully that was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.